Well, everybody, we're back to the bullpen. That's right. And there's a lot of bullpen arms out there. Alex Bregman, is he going to be a Red Sox? Will he come back to the Astros? And are we going to see Framber Valdez or Kyle Tucker traded? Mike Stanton and I are here to talk about it. Let's go right now.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, man, I ain't talking expense. Strike one, hit a low in the way, you can't hit it. You know you want to start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walking back, looking like we ain't cool then. The game's over, might as well put them back to the bullpen, oh yeah.
That's right, everybody. We are back to the bullpen. Myself and Mike Stanton are back. We are here. We've been warming up. We've been throwing our bullpen session. We're getting ready. I mean, look, has there been a more bombastic pre or eve of a first day of a winter meeting as we saw last night, where Juan Soto signed a Major League Baseball and World Sports record contract? In Juan Soto, Mike, we are like 30-something years removed, or 20-something years removed from 1979, 1980, when Nolan Ryan signed the first $1 million contract, and here we are, a guy's getting more than $750 million to play baseball.
It's absolutely remarkable. I mean, and when you look at the numbers, I mean, $51 million a year on average. That comes out, that works out to, I think it's like $7,000 an hour or $6,000. I mean, it's crazy. The kind of numbers that heck, even the signing bonus, $75 million signing bonus. But you know what? More power to him. If you can get it, absolutely get out there and get it. But yeah, the crazy thing is, especially, with Scott Boras as the agent, this is usually something that happens during the winter meetings. I mean, so that what you really do is you get to hold the press conference, and he'll be there. There's going to be a press conference. That's all going to happen. But I mean, just absolutely incredible. I think what's more incredible than anything else, last year we got the Shohei Ohtani contract,
right?
$700 million, absolutely remarkable. But the current dollar value of that deal was nowhere near $700 million. It was actually, I heard, anywhere from $435 to $460, which is still an incredible amount of money, but it's not 700. This is a deal for 15 years that there's no deferred money as far as I know.
None.
This is just flat out just paying the dude, which is even more remarkable. So what is the current market value? It's the almost $800 million that he signed for.
Exactly. So get this. So he has an opt-out for after 5 years.
Yeah, good luck.
I'm just saying. Listen to this. But listen to this. Let's say after 5 years he opts out. Okay, let's just say things go awry in year 4 and 5, and Juan Soto wants out and he wants another contract. Well, he'll be 31. Mm-hmm. He'll have made $330 million in 5 years. That comes out to $62 million a season. It's just, generational wealth. I mean,
usually you put the opt out in there. Do you really think that Steve Cohen looked at this and he goes, opt out after 5 years? Do you think he laughed? I think he probably laughed. It probably got a chuckle out of him, because why do you opt out? Because you're going to make more money? Yeah,
right.
I don't think so.
Right. Well, but I think that kind of gives, I guess, the player some kind of security. Like, if
it's a craze in baseball now. Everybody gets an opt out. And the thing is, let's say he wins 3 MVPs in those 5 years. Is he really going to get even more at 31 years old? No, he's not. So that's the opt out it's just ink on paper. I don't think there's any chance that opt out would be.
Oh, no. Right. No, I just thought that was astronomical how much he would get had he opted out, because of that. It's just such a crazy number. Now, this is what's interesting, Mike, is the New York fan base. I was being lectured to by Yankees fans about how the legacy of the New York Yankees was going to rule the day. And there was no way that Juan Soto would put the pinstripes on and ever walk for money because it's the Yankees and it's Aaron Judge. And I told him, I was like, I'm telling you, this dude loves the money more than he loves the team. And then there's all these people, and I don't think all of them. I know some Yankees fans that are pretty rational. People are acting like you fell in love with us and you turned your back on us. I'm like, he was only there 1 year. It's not like he built something.
Well, I still think he did. I think he did. He completely and totally embraced being in the pinstripes.
True.
I think he was truly happy about playing for the Yankees. I think that he did everything that he should have done.
Oh, yeah.
But
he got fully immersed, right.
But the thing is, you have to look at it, and there's a dollar value on everything.
True.
And are you going to give the Yankees, we'll call it a hometown discount? Maybe. But what's the limit? The Yankees weren't coming anywhere close to $750 million. Nowhere close to that, and they knew that the Yankees didn't have that kind of money to spend. So, I mean, if you're talking, when you're talking about these astronomical numbers, I mean, you're talking, $3 or $4 million per year. Okay, maybe. But I mean, when you're talking hundreds of millions of dollars, there's just no way he's going to give what I like to say, not the Yankees, but I'd like to give baseball that money back. You're just not.
Yeah. So one of the things, I don't know if you saw the deals that were offered. Boston was in the lead at first.
Yeah.
Boston apparently offered around 730. The Yankees offered 760 for 16 is what they offered. And so they were kind of right there. But This is what, to me, and what I'm hearing from Yankees fans. Okay, if you got 730 for one guy or 760 for one guy, you should have 700 something for at least 3 or 4 really good guys. So now the Yankees fans are like, are we going to go out and get 2 or 3 quality?
Sure.
I mean,
it's a reasonable chain of thought. It really is. Because to tell you the truth, they were going to spend, the $730 million or whatever it is to do what? To be just as good as they were last year. I mean, that's the one thing that you have to look at when you spend this money is that they were not going to get better with Juan Soto because they already had Juan Soto. The Mets on the other side, the Mets, they spend all this money. Steve Cohen, really opens up the checkbook here.
He does.
And they did get noticeably, remarkably better. So it's just a different perspective when you have to look at it that way.
So one of the things that has come out that Juan Soto, and I believe it's from him because multiple media outlets are reporting it. So I'm assuming it's not some random quote, but apparently there were some things that Soto had told the Mets that really upset him when he was with the Yankees. There were 1 or 2 incidents with his family and security that happened that really bothered him. And when they were doing the signing, Steve Cohen brought in the traveling secretary, brought in a security company or whatever that works with the Mets, and said, we'll give you personal security, pay for it. This is a lady that will take care of your travel.
Yeah.
We will take care of your family like they're royalty. And Stephen Cohen rolled out the red carpet for him. I really thought like 3 days ago that I was being told that Boston was going to wrangle this, that Big Papi was influencing. They were trying to get the big 3 with Devers, Vlad Jr. next year, and then, Soto. Yeah. And then I was like, but you know what? Either the Yankees are going to swoop in or the Mets are going to swoop in. And I thought this is the one time where the Mets, the guys in Queens, are not going to let the Yankees overtake them. Steve Cohen didn't come into the league to be second fiddle. And with his kind of money, he can afford to do that. And he did.
I said this, I may have said this on our podcast here. I just never felt like Juan Soto was a Red Sox type player. I just didn't.
Makes sense.
I didn't, whether it's the weather, whether it's the type of baseball that they play. Because when I think of the Red Sox, I think of guys like Dustin Pedroia. I mean, guys that are just hard-nosed, you play with a chip on your shoulder, you kind of angry, and I played for the Red Sox twice. And
Right.
a lot of the players, Mike Greenwell was our team leader,
Yes.
and he was as salty as you could get. But I thought about Juan Soto and what he would do. And listen, could he play he could play anywhere. He could absolutely, he would wear out the Green Monster. Absolutely. But I never could wrap my mind around the idea of him being in a Red Sox uniform. And now, what does that mean as far as the situation? Absolutely nothing. I mean, he could have ended up a Red Sox because John Henry had, he decided, okay, this is a year we're going to spend money.
Yeah.
And, they were in this all the way up till the end. But you just weren't going to, when Steve Cohen wants someone, when he's truly wants a player, you're not going to outbid him. You're not going to do it. I mean, you're talking about one of the richest owners in all of Major League Baseball, one of the richest guys in America. So if he really wants something, well, he's going to get it.
Right. And one more caveat to this whole Juan Soto thing, and then we'll move on to what Dana Brown said today, because I think it's very, very it's very noteworthy. Is I was listening to the different media guys, the Jeff Bassans and everything. And so from the media perspective, they're like, well, this is actually a really bad contract because this guy.
Of course it is. It's terrible.
It's
terrible.
We'll get this. So get this. Kyle Tucker has a higher OPS. Mm-hmm. Kyle Tucker's actually a 5-tool player. Juan Soto is not. And they're talking about Kyle Tucker will get a $400 million deal after his last year, which is a lot of money. But it's like, wow, this guy. And he said the Yankees may have avoided being tied down to this contract for all these years. And, everybody's talking about the Dodgers and deferring. Well, from 2030 to like 2040 something, they've got so much money on the books. Who are they going to pay in those years?
Right.
Right. And so.
And that money still counts. It's still money going out the door. Yes. The other side of this for the Mets before we move on is – yeah, he's got the money to spend to pay, obviously, to pay Juan Soto. The other side of this is, it goes by AAV when you're looking at the luxury tax threshold.
Right.
So, that $51 million, whatever it is per year for 15 years, that's where they're starting. So that luxury tax threshold, and you still have to field a whole team around him. And so there's, they've got logistical issues, even though, they've got arguably the best leadoff hitter in the sport and a seemingly future Hall of Famer because he's going to play for 15 more years.
Exactly.
It's so, they still have, even though this definitely helps their lineup, it's going to give them many, many scoring opportunities, all that good stuff. You get all the PR of having Juan Soto, all that great stuff. But you still got to field a team around him, and the luxury tax is going to be because it's also it gets progressively higher as you get higher, and the more time you spend over that luxury tax threshold.
And for just to round it out, they did say we are going to bring back Pete Alonso. They want Alonso and Soto to be like Judge and Soto.
Okay.
They've said it. They said, we're bringing back Alonso. So they're going to pay Pete.
Well, I can tell you Pete's high-fiving his wife or whoever's around him because that just put Pete in the driver's seat as far as the negotiation goes.
Exactly. Yeah, they probably shouldn't have said that. But speaking of saying things, so the Astros have Alex Bregman with 1 foot out the door, 1 foot in. I'm still more than 50% Alex comes back because it just makes too much sense. I think the Astros will go 6 years, 180. I think they max out at 180, and Bregman probably signs that. But there are a lot of signs, and there are people talking about, there are two different people coming at me from Boston. Half of the Boston people that I talk to in the media and that look at their prospects tell me Boston hasn't really actually put a real offer. And then the other ones are like, yeah, Boston, we've heard rumors of them talking about multiple years. I was actually talking to the Locked On Red Sox host, and this is what she said, and we'll get to Dana. She said they really want Alex Bregman, but it's her understanding that they're hesitant on committing to a long-term contract to him due to the infield talent they have in the farm system right now, because they're stacked in the farm system is what she's saying in Boston. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so they say he's in the conversation, but she said she thinks they really, really want him. Cora gave high remarks, hey, what do you think about Alex Bregman? Glowing reviews.
Oh, of course. Yes.
He's auditioning for Bregman. But Dana Brown today, when asked, are you willing to trade Kyle Tucker and Framber Valdez? He said, pretty much everybody's up for trade is what he said. He said, yeah, we would be willing. He goes, but the trade we would have to be better. Like it would have to be something we get back that we
win the trade. You have to win the trade.
They want, I think they're going to, if they let Bregman go, I think they're going to sign a major league ready first baseman. I think it opens the door for someone like Christian Walker. I mean, why wouldn't you just go get him? Because Christian Walker is not going to be as expensive as a Pete Alonso. It's not going to be as expensive as some of these other options out there. So I think Christian Walker.
Walker's a better hitter than Pete Alonso.
100%.
He may not have as much power,
right?
Even though he's got huge power too. Yeah. But he's a better hitter. Listen, this is the difficult part of being Dana Brown, being in charge, because you have to look at every contingency, which includes losing the player that you really want to keep.
Right.
And as much as all of us would hate to see either Tucker or Framber go, those are the difficult decisions that have to be made to keep your team relevant, because you can't just continue to let guys walk out the door and not get anything in return. And right. Dana Brown was brought in for what? The number one reason was to build the minor league system. Well, there's two ways to building the minor league system. The first one is by the draft. Well, guess what? The draft is with only 20 rounds now, and then with as good as the Astros have been, they're not getting those high first-round draft picks, okay? And there's a big difference between, a number 1, 2, or 3 overall and 25, 26, 27 overall. There's a big difference in the talent level there. And then the other way is going to be via trade with your superstars, that you have to make those decisions. You have to pull the trigger when you can. And, is Alex going to come back? I've always said the further it gets into the offseason, the more likely is he's not. But when you look at the situation, when you look at Juan Soto had the whole industry held at gunpoint, not literal, figuratively. And what I mean by that is, especially the guys at the top of the free agent market, the teams that are going to be involved in, with Alex Bregman are the same teams that were involved with Juan Soto.
Right. The Blue Jays, the Red Sox,
right.
The Mets.
So, Juan Soto was the first domino that had to fall. And now these teams, like the Red Sox, are, they panic a little bit. Now we still have to figure out a way to get a stick, to get a player, whatever you're looking
right.
for. And where I said I couldn't see Juan Soto in a Red Sox uniform, I could absolutely see Alex Bregman in one.
Well, Alex Bregman,
he would demolish that green monster in left.
That guy has the highest OPS of any player in the history of Major League Baseball, with the minimum of 20 at bats. Of course, you take someone with a larger sample size, it's probably going to even out towards the end. Yeah. But Alex Bregman absolutely destroys Fenway Park.
Well, and then you were talking about the Red Sox fan that she was talking about how strong their minor league system is. Yeah. One thing you always have to remember about prospects. Mm-hmm. Prospects are a very, very thin line away from being suspect. Okay. They're great to have. They're great to have. And, they are valuable, but, you have a chance to get, a real bona fide Gold Glove winning third baseman and you are in dire need of a right-handed bat. I mean, right. It makes all the sense. And now you didn't get Juan Soto. So everybody knows you have $700 million to spend. It's one of those things. So, Yeah, Dana's got his work cut out for him because whatever the total is going to be, I love the fact that he's still talking about bringing Alex back, that he's still in the hunt. Actually, he didn't say, if I heard you correctly, he didn't say they're going to try. He said they're going to bring Alex back.
Yeah, he said today in more than one, him and Joe Espada both said we're very confident that Alex will come back. Okay.
Nice.
What's funny is I talk to people here and there. Sometimes people they tell me what they know, and I don't always know like where their sources come from. So I just kind of listen to them on the side. But I've been told from various places that the Red Sox are adamant that they think they've got Alex Bregman getting ready to sign, and then I hear someone else from like a Boston Globe type of person who I talked to the other day, and they said, look, unless like the Red Sox need to get pitching, the Red Sox, they have Devers.
They also need a right-handed bat.
They do.
They're already heavy left-handed.
Well, and the thing with Bregman, even though Boris said they're willing to play him second, they've got a guy that is supposed to be coming up playing third base. They want to move Devers eventually to DH. They need a first baseman replace. So where would Bregman go? Would he go to second base? What would they do?
You're not bringing on Alex Bregman with the superior defense that he has and letting Rafael Devers play third over him. That's just
no.
Yeah.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Because he's just so superb, and I couldn't stand it. On my break today at work, I was watching like Alex Bregman fielding highlights, and I was like, I don't want to watch this right now. It's kind of, but Jim Crane has had this way about him. He's had success. He's let guys walk. He's let guys get to the end of their career and walk, and it's worked out. Last off season was somewhat of not a great thing. The Hader contract, I think, is a little insane when you think, anyways. You do projections of closers and how much they're paying them. And then this year, if they let Bregman go without getting him back, and then if they're just going to not trade Fromber and not trade Tucker, and I don't think all three leave. I don't think you trade both Tucker and Fromber and let Bregman walk. I think one of those three, two of those three maybe stay. But at the end of the day, doesn't Crane have to start thinking like trading these guys and doing something a little different? Because you don't have the affordability. You got knocked out in the ALCS in 23. You got knocked out in the ALDS in 24. Now, I think the AL is still wide open because the Mariners are shopping Luis Castillo. The Mariners still don't have an offense. The Angels, we know what they do with their talent. The A's and the Rangers may be our competition in the West. The Rangers will be better, but the A's are going to be the A's. And all the power is focused in the National League. You know what's crazy? Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani, Bryce Harper, Fernando Tatis Jr., they all got to play against each other to get to one game.
Right.
They're not in both leagues. All the power's concentrated in the National League. That is a good formula for the Astros. I don't think the road is as difficult. So do you think Jim Crane has to change what he's doing to keep up with the times?
Does he have to? No, he doesn't have to. I mean, and he's Jim. You're not going to tell Jim Crane anything. You can suggest, and he'll listen, but he's ultimately going to do whatever he feels is best. Jim. I mean, other than Altuve, who has been the long-term contracts? There hasn't been any, especially for pitching. I mean, I think if I remember correctly, Lance McCullers Jr. is the longest contract that they've signed as far as a pitcher is concerned.
585.
Yeah, and we know how that one has worked out. Now, that doesn't have anything to do with anyone else. Right. But when you have a guy like Fromber and all the wear and tear that's been on his arm, now, he's been an absolute beast, a horse. What does that mean? But it's crazy to think that the Astros have gone through this long run without signing any long-term big-time free agents. They've let guys go left and right, but at some point you have to sign someone. I mean, I don't want to say that he has to change his method because his method has worked. But, you know, you can't let everybody go. You can't. I
Well,
mean, the Astros are still in very good situation, even if it's not with Bregman, because you still have a good core in your offense, and then you
right.
have, you know, the 60% of the starting pitching you lost a couple years ago is supposed to be coming back. So, you know, they're still in good position, but it would be nice for Jim to bite the bullet and say, yeah, you know what? And listen, he's already done that because they have a legitimate offer on the board to Alex. You know,
Well,
so it's not like he hasn't you know, he hasn't negotiated or anything like that.
well, I think there is a way to sign Bregman and keep it between 156 and 180. He's got to be willing to give him a signing bonus. The signing bonus does not count against the cap, from what I understand. The signing bonus doesn't go against your AAV. So that $75 million bonus that Juan Soto got, that was on top of his salary.
Yeah.
So what you do is you offer him 6 for 180, and then you give him a $25 million signing bonus. I don't know. Look, it's easy for me to say because it's not
it's not our money, right?
right. But, you know, trading versus signing a free agent, if you have the assets to trade, you trade them. But Mike, let's just say Mike is GM, okay? And okay, so with Bregman, you only have one option. You can sign him, okay? Now, you have Fromber and Tucker. You can trade, you can extend, or you can let them play one more year and walk. What are you doing with Tucker, and what are you doing with Fromber?
That's a tough one. Because I think probably the more valuable player. Wow, that's tough.
It is
because, you know, Tucker was hurt. Now he did come back at the end, showed that he's healthy. You know, I got over the broken ankle there from the foul ball. There's no reason to think he's not going to be completely healthy next year. Fromber is a workhorse.
200 innings.
Yeah, it's seemingly every year. I'm going to say I think that, wow, they're both so valuable. I mean, I'm trying to pick which one has the highest value. And I'm leaning towards probably Tucker.
Okay.
Probably Tucker. Unless you have a year.
Extending Tucker, or you're talking about extending Tucker or trading or signing?
Well, knowing, again, I'm kind of going back and forth in my own mind here. Knowing how Jim Crane has yet to offer a seriously big long-term contract to a pitcher,
right.
I would say Tucker would be the one that you would say, okay, and knowing that you have other pitchers, Luis Garcia, guys like that. I think that Tucker would be the one, you know, if everything was equal, Tucker would be the one that you would rather re-sign and let Fromber move on. But there's been talk whether they can sign Tucker for the last couple seasons.
Right. Well, Tucker,
whether they can extend him or not.
Because look, his price just went to $400 million, I think. If I'm being honest, he's a 5-tool player. He can steal bases. He's a Gold Glove. He is a better overall hitter than Juan Soto is, I think, when he's healthy. I just think he is. I think he's a better, more complete major league player. Juan Soto can't play right field to save his life. He's a hitter.
Overall player, I would say yes. Hitter, I don't know if I would say hitter, because the one thing that Juan Soto always has, he's got that on-base percentage that is just through the freaking.
That's true.
And so if you're just going to talk about just offense, I mean, you can't go wrong with one. So you can't go wrong with either one.
Right.
But you know, they're different type players. But if you look at the overall, you throw defense in there, and you want to, you know, if everything's on the level, both defensively and offensively, yeah, Tucker very well may be a better overall player, just because it's a more well-rounded game.
See, I've always said Tucker is the one guy you break the mold for. Like, you have a mold for a championship run. Why did he break the mold for him? His age. He is really, I mean, outside of this ball being fouled off his shin, he's been healthy, Mike. He's not.
Oh, and he was one of the leading candidates. Now, I know it was a short sample, a small sample size when he got hurt, but he was top 2 or 3 MVP in the American League. I mean, he was having another one of those great seasons. So, but again, we're not behind the scenes. We don't know how the conversations are going. We have to remember the things that have happened in the past. One of them is that he went to arbitration and lost. And arbitration, we've talked about this before. Arbitration is a brutal process, brutal. And whether he wins or loses is kind of irrelevant. You know, now, obviously, if you win, you get paid a little bit more money. Okay, that you know, a little bit more ice on the wound. But listen, I've been through the arbitration process. It is brutal because you sit across to the table, a representative from Major League Baseball who's representing the ball club. He's going to sit there and they are going to rag your rear end for an hour. How bad you are. You did this wrong. You did that wrong. And then you're going to turn around and, you know, and then you're going to be buddies. And I've known many teammates in the past. And listen, maybe Tucker is above this. You know, we know, you know, he's the highest of character type player.
Right.
I've had many teammates come out of the arbitration process and even one and said, there is no freaking way that I'm signing with this team after everything that I just heard them say to me about me. And and it's the brutal side of the sport. That's why you don't see very many players go to arbitration, because it's brutal for both sides. It's not just, you know, it's you know, you go all the way back to the beginning of arbitration. The general managers themselves were the ones that did the arbitration hearing. Wow. So you had to sit across from the player and tell the player how bad he is, and then turn around and walk out the door and try and put your arm around him and not get punched in the mouth.
Well, Corbin Burns talked about that trainings ago. He was like, they told me I was the reason why we lost the playoff games. He was like, I was so insulted. He was like, I gave my heart and my soul to this team, and they ripped my heart out. And every time you talk about that, your experiences, it reminds me of that.
Right. Now, as far as Tucker is concerned, we weren't in the hearing. We don't know exactly what was said. I just know the process, and the process is brutal.
It's not
there's
fun.
A lot of players that have long memories going back to their arbitration cases.
So we also have another player that they are shopping extensively in Ryan Presley. Mm-hmm. And Ryan Presley will fit in just about any ball club because he's still really, really good. He's 35 and 9 months old. Okay, I just found that out on Spotrac. He's got the $14 million.
So that means he'll play at 36 next year.
Right. So basically, I think the Astros will have to probably eat because he's getting 14. We just saw that Chapman signed for like 10.75 or something. I think the Astros have to eat at least 5 or 6 of that 14 to get him under 10 million to make him a little bit more valuable trade piece.
Yeah.
And what we heard, and what I've been told from a friend sent me this from Bob Nightingale. He said that if the Astros lose Alex Bregman in free agency, you can be assured, this is Bob Nightingale, that the Phillies president, Dave Dombrowski, will immediately be on the phone offering Bohm for the Astros reliever, Ryan Presley, who's being extensively shopped. And if they lose him and they bring back Bohm, now he would be a 1-year rental. He's like 27. He's up for a big contract after that. But the Astros could have a stopgap because Dana Brown did say another thing. I didn't tell you this before we went on air. He said our internal replacement for third base is 6 to 8 months, maybe 1 year out. So he just basically told all the guys waiting, you guys got a ways to go. Yeah. What do you think about that? Would that be a solid move for the Astros to bring in Bohm even for one season?
So Bohm got off to a really good start last year.
Right.
Second half of the season, he really, really struggled. You know, you look at the numbers, he's got some power, change of scenery. I mean, that's all stuff that could be good. Right. You know, could go in Bohm's way. But The thing is, I've said this the whole hot stove season here is that I've thought that the Astros were going to have to go to the free agent market to fill third base.
Yeah.
But I didn't think they have any internal, realistic internal options that would be at least an average major league player right now. I just don't feel like they do. So that, I mean, if that's going to be the case, then you might as well, if you're going to go with the free agent market, you might as well go ahead and go for the guy that you want to have there, which is Alex Bregman. I think that's really what we're seeing here. And listen, we heard from Alex, and I believe him when he said this. Alex is a very smart guy. So he's going to say, before the end of the season, he was going to say everything correctly or say the right thing. How much he wants to stay in Houston. I think he truly wants to stay in Houston. He's created a life here. His wife and his child, they're here. I mean, it's he's got all the HEB commercials, all that kind of stuff. He's got a pretty good gig going on. So I think that as long as the Astros stay competitive, do they have to be top dollar? I don't think they even have to be top dollar. You also have to remember, if you go to Boston, you're taking a big hit in taxes also that you don't have here in Texas. I mean, this is all stuff that has to go into the thought process. No income tax here. There's why so many baseball players and so many athletes call Texas home. And Massachusetts is among the highest of the states around the United States.
And I mean, Alex doesn't want Knox growing up in the snow and the slushy, messy stuff, right? Come on, Alex. Because
it can be,
Alex,
winters up there can be brutal for sure.
So after Alex, this is your free agent list from Spotrac. After Alex Bregman, Yohan Moncada, Nicky Lopez, Josh Rojas, Patrick Wisdom, Gio Urshela, Jace Peterson, and Brian Anderson. Now, some of those guys in their own ways, respectable ball players.
Sure.
But the drop-off is massive. Now, you could go with the Nolan Arenado. You would have to trade for. A lot of guys are saying they see him having a bounce back year. He didn't have a great
year. Could be. It's going to be in a very hitter friendly ballpark. Where in St. Louis, it is not.
No, it's not.
The problem you have, and listen, he still hit 270 last year. The problem is the power has gone completely away.
Yeah.
Now,
would doubles machine in Minute Maid, or I'm sorry, Dakin.
Could be.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to practice that before the season starts.
Yeah, no doubt. But could the Crawford boxes help him? Of course, Crawford boxes can help anybody that's not in Boston. I mean, there's options out there, but none of the options rank anywhere close to what Alex Bregman means to Astros fans, what he's meant to this organization. And I think that's why we look at it and we say, that's why the Astros are going so hard at Alex, because they truly do want him back.
Yeah, exactly. No, this guy comes in. Jam says, I remember when Kyle Tucker was a minor league prospect and the Astros wouldn't put him on any trade made because he was a future Astro star, and now they don't want to pay the man. Oh, well, the owner stinks. Oops, I didn't see that at the end. Sorry.
That's the business side of baseball. It is. And it's brutal. And as a fan, you hate it because, you are emotionally invested in these players and you want everybody to stick around. But, at some point you have to make these tough decisions. And I don't envy Dana Brown. I mean, it's a tough situation trying to figure out how to move this organization forward and keep this team relevant and not having, just keep trying to build on the success that they've already had.
Yeah, we got someone here. Correa is up. The Twins are wanting to move Correa. The problem with Correa is that contract.
Yeah,
they really
extremely limited in their funds.
They're wanting to trade the contract, but do I want to take on a majority of the contract when I know that his injury history the last 2 seasons has been abysmal?
Well, one of the things you were talking about Ryan Presley a little while ago and about how they would have to, could they trade Ryan Presley with the whole contract? Maybe, but you're not going to get anything in return. And that's not how you want to orchestrate your trades. You're trying to build your minor league system. You need to get prospects, preferably top prospects into your system. So that's where you start eating money. Then you start moving on the other side. You start moving the bar up on the prospect list.
Well, the Rays, we could always talk to them. They always seem to have these great prospects hanging in the wings. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, Mike, because I think it can go like 15 different.
Well, people need to understand, yes, we are, just a couple weeks out of Christmas, but the hot stove season is just now heating up. Now that Juan Soto, now that the big dog has fallen, now the guys underneath him can truly start negotiating. And I think that especially in this winter meetings that started today, we may see a couple signings here, but it may take another week or two for everyone to kind of, come back from reeling from the Juan Soto contract.
No, exactly. And every former player, Adam Jones and Eric Davis and all those guys are asking them, hey, what's going on with, what do you think about this contract? They're like, it's unbelievable.
It is.
And I don't know if you heard, they had this new classic ballot thing where they brought back names that narrowly missed the Hall of Fame, and they elected Dick Allen and Dave Parker to the Hall of Fame.
Cool.
So
is that like the
it's like a legacy classic,
legacy.
Where I think like if you look at Dick Allen's resume as a hitter, oh my gosh, he was a player. Yeah. And the fact that he didn't make it, there are some guys that I'm going,
there were so many. It's a flawed system.
It is. It's
a flawed system, and the fact that it's still baseball writers are the only one there. Now it's their award, so we can't really complain since the baseball writers are the ones that do all the voting. But it's kind of absurd that they're the only ones that are voting for this. And then just the way the ballots have changed over the years.
Well, and I saw a guy. Look, you get like 12 votes. I saw a guy. I'm sorry, I won't even say his name. He voted A-Rod, Manny Ramirez, Omar Vizquel. There's the only three he voted for. Didn't even vote for Billy Wagner. I'm like, the greatest left-handed closer probably ever. And the guy, I don't know if you know his story. He broke his arm.
Yeah, broke his right arm.
And then started throwing left.
He's right-handed.
Yeah. And then Roy Oswalt, we actually interviewed him over on Locked On Astros. And I don't know if you know this, Roy had an accident. He was having issues with his throwing arm at spring training, and Lance Bregman tells a story of how he got shocked by some cord or something, and it actually he never had problems with his shoulder.
They fixed it.
Yeah, it fixed it. I'll have to find it. And hey, look, I
now everybody's gonna walk around getting the paddles when you have a
Mr. Miyagi thing or whatever you can do. No, but I have some kind of like interesting third level connections with him. I'm gonna see if I can reach out to him. I would love to get Lance Berkman on. But hey guys, just something to tell y'all, a former major league closer that Mike knows, that Mike even played with back in the day, is going to be joining us. I won't reveal his name yet because I want to definitely nail down a date, but we have a former major league closer, a pretty powerful arm that was out there, is going to be joining us during the baseball season. So we'll be working on that this year. We'll be looking at stuff this offseason. Mike and I haven't really
By the way, folks, I'm sitting here shaking my head. I have no idea who he's talking about. He hasn't told me this yet.
Yeah, he did. No, I told you. I remember. Okay, remember I asked you if you knew his age. If you told me y'all had the same agent at one point.
Oh, yes. Okay, never mind. I've slept since then.
See, you tried to put me under the bus. Finally got you.
It's all right. I'll get you under the bus again sometime soon.
I only got one. I'll take one. It's like 10-1, Mike, right now. But all right. Well, hey man, you know what? Let's do this here in a few days. Maybe even this weekend.
We have to see what the winter meetings have in store. Again, with Juan Soto finally coming off of the free agent market, things can start falling. But I think it's going to take a little bit of time. The last couple winter meetings have been kind of anticlimactic. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully this one, there's some guys to talk about, and we can come back on here in a couple days.
Astros will sign Bregman. They'll sign Christian Walker. They'll bring on Sean Manaea. I mean, let's just do it all. Extend Kyle Tucker. Let's just do it all. Like, I'm sorry, Yankees fans are always like, it was so funny after Soto left. They're like, I saw one guy literally say, we're going to sign, and it had like Corbin Burns, Garrett Crochet, Alex Bregman. And I was like, you guys think everybody
probably for the same dollar value?
Yeah. Good. All four of those guys for what
That's
you
right.
think.
That's right.
Well, hey, Mike, thanks, man. This has been great. Y'all have a good one. We do appreciate y'all coming in, hanging out with us, talking to us. You guys are great. And as always, bring it back to the bullpen with Mike and Brett. Y'all have a good one.
Adios.
And we're out.
I'm looking to the bullpen to bring my lefty in. Keep the lead and make your team look pedestrian. It's in your wheelhouse, we'll swing for the fence. You know it's money around here, man, I ain't talking expense. Strike one, heat a low in the way, you can't hit it. You know you wanna start a rally, but you better forget it. Strike two, off speed, same spot, your car looking. Get ready at the plate, this time you're not cooking. Strike three, swinging out of the zone. You ain't even touch it first. Tell me how they gonna drive you home. Walk your back, looking like we ain't cool then. The game's over, might as well play.